welcome back, everyone, and thank you for listening to Brandon Sanderfans with Ben and Sam. I am Ben, as joined always with my best friend Sam. How are you today, Sam?
I'm tired, you know.
I have to say it's 9 o'clock where I am, which isn't too bad. It is 12 o'clock where you are, which is bad.
It is midnight 13 as of this moment right now. I'm in tomorrow, Ben. I'm in the future. Ask me how it is.
What movies are coming out? How is Cars 3? That came out last week.
We actually have Cars 4 now.
Oh yeah?
And it's all live action. It's real good. Oh, real Oscar worthy.
Yeah? Is it?
Yeah.
Did you just watch Talladega Nights again, Sam? While on acid?
You got me. That's how I spend my midnight 13s, with a Talladega Nights and some LSD.
Well, you know, I didn't want to believe it, but I did. Of course, I'm a huge Cars head, as you know, and I did watch the special features, as I do every year around Christmas. And they do talk a lot about how they got their idea for Cars after they had dropped acid and watched Talladega Nights.
You know, every time I need inspiration, the first thing I'd look to is Will Ferrell movies and drugs. And immediately I know exactly that's how this podcast came about, actually. For those who don't know, we said to ourselves, you know, we want to do a podcast because we love our own voices, but we just need some inspiration. So we took some hits and we watched Bewitched.
We watched Bewitched, and we both had the same nagging sensation that the witch in Bewitched was telling us to talk about Brandon Sanderson on recording, which is why we took the ill-advised, step to get to this place where we just talk about it only, and that's our lives.
So, with the help of Nicole Kidman, and in her witch form, if you will, what do we do on this podcast, Ben? Because we don't talk about Will Ferrell all the time, right?
No, not really.
Good. So what do we do?
Mostly we talk about Brandon Sanderson books. This week we're actually doing something special. Recently, you and I, Sam, finished the book Mistborn, and we're gonna do today our top 10 best things about Mistborn. You ready, Sam?
I'm ready, Ben.
Top 10 Brandon Sanderfans with Ben and Sam. Reasons why Mistborn rules.
Excellent. Party on, Ben.
Yes, that reference is older than everyone in our audience.
Well, they might watch it ironically.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Excellent.
All the cool kids at home are just like, tucking their hair behind their ears. Just like, yeah, okay, all right. Excellent.
So the purpose of a top 10, if you can imagine what that would be, is, at least for this, Ben and I are going to talk about the top 10 things we loved and what rules about Mistborn, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson.
I mean, it'd be really easy for us to just hit record and be like, everything, and then hang it up, and then shoot it into the ocean and be like, that's it, we did it.
No one can listen to it now except the fishies.
And then the fish listen to it. They're like, yeah, that is right. And then they build a home under the sea. Metal sea urchins. You know where I'm going with this.
Full circle. And then eel magic. I don't know how to work that in there. I don't know how to do a good segue into that.
Yeah, then some guy zips along with a gigantic tailbone full of eels just attached to him, and he whips out of the air. He's beautiful. It's beautiful. I didn't think that SeaWorld would survive after Blackfish, but they found it, man. I mean, once I saw that guy just 40 feet in the air, and his vertebrae is just attached to all these stinky fish boys, I was like, this is it. This is the future, man.
This is how it all ends. This is how I want to go.
Even the dolphins were like, oh man, I wish I was that cool. And then they just like dance backwards on their little fish tails.
On the fish tails. How do they sound again, Ben? What does a dolphin sound like?
Oh, mostly like, oh man. That's bad! It's like kind of like if Michael Jackson was a sheep. That's how a dolphin sounds.
So you're like kind of like a Shamona. No, I was a little too. There we go.
Dude, dolphins are just the Michael Jacksons of the sea. If you think about it,
they're
just dancing around, doing their own thing, trying to make everyone happy.
That is potentially the most correct statement of the future, at least in my future.
Well, Sam, let's kick off this top 10. Gonna go
Yes.
10 to 1 in very particular order. We spent hours, and this is scientifically accurate, this list.
We put it through just a veritable bevy of generators and lab equipment, and we came up with this top 10 list. Number 10, for reasons why, Mistborn rules, number 10 is the Inquisitors.
The Inquisitors do rule.
You heard that right.
That's science.
The Inquisitors. They're crazy powerful. Mm-hmm. They have a science about them that is almost too much for a simple mind like ours to comprehend.
Absolutely horrifying.
Absolutely horrifying. Like Quentin Tarantino and Grindhouse met up with
Megadeth. Hey Megadeth, how could I make something disgusting looking for my great book? Oh yeah? Just drive spikes through the body of a man and just let him live with this horror show just happening in his body? Okay, that sounds great. I love it.
But wait, it's all about politics? That's even better. This is so good. Thanks, Megadeth.
I wonder what sort of message Brandon is trying to send, that the political party that's coming up from behind and trying to take over the current political party, it's like the tattoo faces that have like deformed their faces and bodies with ink and tattoo, so they look kind of otherworldly and alien, to people who have literally shoved spikes through their brains and not died. And that's what they do just normally. They don't got eyes. They don't blink. They're the non-blinkers versus the always blinkers. That's what they call them in the book. I thought it was strange, but, Brandon can do what he wants.
I missed that part of the book, or I think I skipped over it. I think it was getting a little too political for me at that point. But, the Inquisitors are something that I think is always appealing to every reader is a powerful enough enemy to match the power of the protagonist. In this case, the protagonist being Vin. Obviously, the Inquisitors are far more powerful, that she could not take them by herself. But we did see Kelsier, who was a very powerful Mistborn himself, take on and vanquish, decapitate an Inquisitor, all by himself. I say by himself loosely because he was using some guards as throw pillows and distractions. and cushions.
Yeah, he did have a little bit there. The thing is, like, imagine you fight this thing that not only looks like a horror show because they got metal like sticking all around their bodies, so it's like, so where do I stick more metal to make this other metal stop and them stop? So there's confusion there.
It's also, like Hellraiser. It's like Hellraiser, but with more concentrated areas.
It's like Hellraiser's like, you know what? I'm just not feeling the thousands of little ones today. Just give me 2 big ol' ones.
And then a bunch of them you can't see. Yeah.
And a bunch of them you can't see. Yeah, they got spikes in their chest and in their spine. You got a big old railroad spike in your spine. You can't live that. I'm sorry, that doesn't work.
How do they get comfortable?
I think that, and also, like, you're fighting them, and they can also heal themselves. So you, like, let's say you get a great hit off. Oh, you got a big old hammer, and you get the sneak up on them, and you, like, break their shoulder. Okay, fun. You did it, and everyone had a good time.
Good job.
Yeah, then they just, like, their shoulders crushed. They just move it up, and they just, like, crack it into place like Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. And they're just like, yeah, I'm ready for round 2, sucker.
So why did we choose Inquisitors? There's numerous reasons. Super powerful, crazy. I don't want to say no, I'll say that crazy horrifying. Because if you'd met one in real life, you'd be like, "Oh, no, thank you," and then you'd run away. Because what else? You're gonna die. That's it.
You just
There's
nope
no
away.
to it.
And if you're a Mistborn, you just like shoot down some metal and like backwards and like pew, nope, and just shoot all away into the sky. But they track you. The thing is, like, we also know that they're not quite human. They don't they talk like they're superhuman, like they're ascended from humans. They can like see inside of your body and see like your lies and your truth, which is super creepy as well. Like they're just creepy polygraph machines that walk around and try to catch people in their lies. I do see a note here, Sam. You put the Inquisitors, the original metalheads. Thank you. That's very, very helpful.
Thank you very much. Now, I can give you several reasons why.
Is it because they have metal in their head?
Yes. And they live in that big sea urchin by the crustaceans. So, I mean, they're all over metal.
I guess they're like half metal sea urchin themselves, just stuck with all these spikes. Yes. I wonder if that's how they get their powers. There's a big sea urchin in the basement. They just go down there and like run at it, and they get stuck, and that's it. And that's how they become
like a big Velcro wall, and they have Velcro suit.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like MXC. They just go down there like, I like poopy butts, and they just run at this. They just run at this metal sea urchin, and the metal sea urchin's like, "You are chosen," and then stabs them through, and then I guess they live forever. Step 3, profit. I don't know.
Step 4, make a band. Oh man, yeah. Inquisitors. I think the Inquisitors were of all the bad guys, politically, physically, magically in this book, the Inquisitors encompass all of it, and they were some grade A bad guys.
Perfect. And number 9, going on to number 9, we have the Lord Ruler's death. So this is separate from the ending itself. I think that the actual way that he dies is really, really interesting and really cool. Props to Brandon for making a guy die from old age that was like seconds ago young and healthy.
Yeah, it's like a reverse sped up Benjamin Button.
Right. I saw your note right here, Sam, and I was just hoping we were going to skip over it.
Nope.
Yeah, that's normal. Reverse Benjamin Button, that's just normal. And sped up is just, normal sped up life is what that was.
Hear my reasoning, okay? So you think Benjamin Button, born an old guy, and then after a period of what I assume is 60 years, I've never seen the movie, he became a baby and died. But the Lord Ruler, get this, the Lord, you know what? It's normal. Never mind. You're right. Deleting that note.
So yeah, the Lord Ruler, he just aged normal. Yep, there it goes. I'm
still gonna put quotes around normal. Normal is such a relative term.
Normal doesn't really apply here because he does age like 100 years in like a minute, and then get stabbed. So I do like the poetry where the Lord Ruler was stabbed twice with spears before he killed Kelsier, and he killed Kelsier, I think technically by stabbing him with a spear, or maybe he killed him when he like backhanded him, like Kelsier was already dead.
I gotta say it's the backhand. Did you ever see Kung Fu Hustle?
No, I did not.
First off, it's great movie, but there's a guy who backhands someone so hard their head twists around like 4 times. And I would like to imagine that's kind of what happened. I mean, it doesn't say anything about the twisting, but he definitely, there's no way he could get a hit that hard from someone that powerful and live through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, it could be, that would be an interesting kind of religious ephemera for the rising, savior figure that Kelsier was. It's like, let's gather around the survivor of Hath Sin, whose head was twisted around 4 times, and he still survived. Yep.
It signifies how he can see you everywhere.
He can see you everywhere, especially in the toilet, and he knows who you are. Can you imagine just like you're having a spiritual experience and you're like praying or whatever, and then like just the head of Kelsier just spinning around just shows up. It's like, I could see you in the toilet. Stop doing your toilet stuff. I can't turn this channel off. I don't know how to do it.
Stop praying. It's not working.
Yeah. It's just a god that's just tortured. He doesn't want to look at you, but he can't not because he's your god now. That's what you did to him. Good job.
So do you think with the Lord Ruler's death, him aging very, very quickly, past the years that he definitely should have died according to, the laws of nature, do you think that if they had not stabbed him through the chest, he would have just aged to like a fine powder? Or do you think he would have just kind of like his organs would have been like, nope, we're out, and then just stopped? What's your take on that, Ben?
Cutting jokes aside, I think that once he like physically died of old age and his spirit separated from his body, because we know that in Brennan's books there's spiritual realm, cognitive realm, and the physical realm. So when either his cognitive shadow or his spirit separates from the body, I think that it would have stopped having access to the power that was aging him or keeping him young in this case. So I think he would have just stopped aging at that point. I don't think it would have kept going like on autopilot. But we do know from science that his fingernails and his teeth would have kept growing. What keeps growing when you die? Your teeth? Your teeth just keep growing like a beaver. It's your hair. It's your hair and your fingernails.
That's why grave robbing is highly discouraged and illegal. It's not because, it's bodies or anything, but you just open it and you see all those it's just gross. They don't want you to look at that horror. I'm not convinced that your teeth don't grow, and bear with me. Have you seen a skeleton's head? Those teeth are long. They're a lot longer than the teeth I see in my head. So, like, something's going on with these skeleton heads. Either they're going in and replacing the teeth, or the teeth are growing, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Ben, I promise, after this, we'll go out to a friend's graveyard and just dig up his friends' bodies, and we'll see what we can find, okay? I have a guy. We'll talk to him. Okay. We'll dig up this really cool guy I know. He was a beaver. We'll see what. Now, if this was the case, they, let's say they didn't stab the Lord Ruler. They let his body, tap out of its energies and whatnot. Of course. They leave the room. Yes. They celebrate. All this stuff happens. They come back 2 weeks later. And because of how fast he was aging, they can't open the door because it's just filled with hair and teeth. And it's just teeth. Just so much teeth. And the thing is, it's up on the top, so instead of having stained glass windows, you just have like these teeth shooting out of there, like the Space Needle. just a big ol' wing of teeth shooting out everywhere. And they take the teeth, they give them to the children, they make homes out of them. Why can't they give it to the Tooth Fairy? Step 3, profit. It's a win-win-win situation for everybody who has these teeth. Well, that's the thing. That's probably, if we were going to make a bottom 10 list of Mistborn, I hate that he canonically killed the Tooth Fairy in the first chapter. I thought it was a little bit much. And now the kids can't sell those big old teeth for any money. Well, it's when Kelsier went on that murder spree. He went through a town, and she had just arrived, and she was like, "Oh, this little kid just ripped to pieces." It was really, really gruesome. But I guess somewhere he'll explain why he did it. Maybe. Let's go on to number 8. The evolving case of Mare's betrayal. I see that you noted this as well, Sam. Will she? Won't she? Did she? Don't she? I did. Don't she? Did reasons. She? Will she? Won't she? I did this for 2 reasons. There's always reasons for the things I do, Ben. The first reason is we see several stages of I don't know if I don't know if grief is the right word. Obviously, the stages of grief, but we do see several stages of recognition as well as what is the word I'm looking for? He came to terms with it. What's that word?
He came to terms with it. He confronted.
I'm trying to think of the 5 stages of grief. Accepted. He accepted what happened, and he even learned new information just by maybe potentially even a revelation because of what he talked about in different chapters. What we know, he at first what he saw and what he knew was that they went into Credit Shaw. The Lord Ruler, was it the Lord Ruler who was there? Man, we just book.
The Lord Ruler was in Critic Shot. Well, they went to the little house and they were ambushed, essentially.
Oh, jeez, yes. They went to the little house, and then he said thanks.
The little house in the prairie.
In the prairie. And then he was like, thanks, Mayor, you did it. Good job. And then they got thrown into the pits of Hathsin. And so then he, or at least at that moment, at that time, he knew, quote unquote, that she betrayed him. But then as time goes on, and now after the things he learns, maybe it wasn't a betrayal. Maybe it wasn't her, the love of his life, taking his life away, or potentially taking his life away, and in the end losing her own life. It was there were so many steps to it throughout the whole book that it was really a cool little, a beautiful arc that he was able to go through to cope with this betrayal / not betrayal.
Yeah, and I think that's most expressed when Vin sits down with him and gives him that little piece of hope. She presents a piece of information he didn't have before, that Vin somehow can pierce copper clouds. And so maybe, the Lord Ruler being the most powerful Allomancer of all time, that he would be able to do the same thing. And Mare that night, being a Tin Eye, would have been burning metals, and so he would have been able to pierce the copper cloud that they had set up. And that would have, given the Lord Ruler the ability to say, yeah, it was Mare who tipped us off. So it gives him this little leeway that he didn't have before in his mind, where, maybe Mare didn't actually betray him. It's evolved from, I hate her, and then she died for me, and somehow when he really didn't ever stop loving her, even when he hated her.
Right.
And just the knowledge that maybe it wasn't because of her that he was caught that night. And, every step he's taken since then has been in a way to revenge himself of her death. It's really interesting stuff. Like, it makes such an interesting, complex tapestry for Kelsier's action, because really, if we look at it from the beginning, he's trying to bring down the Empire because the Empire killed Mare. But he doesn't know, he thinks that Mare betrayed him the entire time. I think it gives him that little bit of closure before ultimately he died. That he could take with him something that, Mare probably gave us away because of her allomancy, but not because she betrayed me.
Absolutely. And it's the resolution that he needed to come to the in order for him to take the next step into, willingly giving himself up, willingly giving up the ghost to have the final Empire finally be thrown over. He came to that knowledge that Vin brought, and he was able to find that peace before having to leave.
Mm-hmm. And I think, just to bring a little a different spin on it, I think that Kelsier leaving the pits of Hassan, he's a Mistborn now. He could have done a lot of things with the experiences he had. a lot of other people in his situation maybe just would have become stand-up comedians. Like, oh yeah, my wife told me to take out the trash. Oh, and then she betrayed me to the death. You know, everyone can relate to that one.
Don't you hate it?
My wife, she wants to kill me. Literally.
Don't you hate it when you're on a flight to Phoenix and your wife betrays you and you're sent to the pits of Hatson? Ugh, Tuesdays, am I right?
Don't you hate it when you're looking at your wife and you're like, hey, I'm gonna rob this store, and she's like, I called the store owner. I mean, like, what?
Don't you hate it when your wife just doesn't?
Oh yeah, that's me.
Don't you hate it when your wife doesn't sew sleeves on any of your shirts? Ugh.
Ham's in the audience and is just frowning. He's like, I don't get it. That's not funny at all. I love it. What if Ham's wife... Okay, so Ham never wears sleeves. What if Ham's wife just can't make sleeves? I know he rips the sleeves off once, but maybe like she can't make sleeves, and so he doesn't have any sleeves in the house because it just like offends her. It makes her upset. Just like something she could never do. And Ham just like, that's why he rips the sleeves off of everything, and all of his clothes have no sleeves, you know?
What if it's against her religion?
Oh, yeah, that sleeveless religion.
Yeah, you know,
that they have in this book.
Certain religions ask that you cover your head or cover certain parts of your body. But what if this one, it's like you gotta uncover that body. You gotta show those. You've been working on your delts? Yeah, show those off. Work on those delts, those biceps. Apparently it's a religion for the muscular, and that's it.
And you gotta do that weird, like, you take your fist and you twist it, like, halfway around while your arm is straight and lock your elbow so you can flex your delts. Like, that's them, like, folding their arms or putting their hands up to pray. Like, they're just flexing their delts, and you're just like, yo, bro, you
praying?
You're looking swole, man.
You praying? May you be swole in the name of the I don't know. I can't. It is 12:40, and I cannot think of a muscular god to save my life.
Yeah, you see these wings? I'm practically an angel over here. Oh,
What?
The delts are wings. You know, you get it.
I get it.
Okay. Going on to number 7. Top reason why Mistborn rules. Kelsier had planned for his death as part of the heist.
Ben, spoilers.
Oh, sorry, spoilers. Yeah, it's spoilerful. Spoilerful, if you didn't know.
Now,
we're talking about Mistborn and plot points in it.
We read throughout the whole book, Kelsier has all these... he has followers. He has people who call him the Survivor, which is obviously a play on, you know, the word savior. He has many people call him the Lord of the Mists, which I think was a newer one. Everyone does look at him as a religious figure, not a folk hero, but on the next level. And so it does play into the savior allegory, the Christ allegory, if you will. It does make sense that he would sacrifice himself for the betterment of mankind. Now, normally I would roll my eyes so hard at something like this, not because of the religious aspect of it, because like, oh, Bobula, it's overplayed. So it's been done before. But it was obviously it was well thought out, well written. Thank you, Mr. Sanderson. But it was, once again, Kelsier was not the main, he was obviously a protagonist. He was not the main protagonist. This is Vin's story. And Kelsier did this, yes, but we didn't stop there. It wasn't like, everything's good now because Kelsier died. But it took the next step to, okay, Kelsier's dead, and he has this group of people now who will push forward the work that he had, set forth to do so that the final empire can finally come down. It was the stepping stone to the next step. It was not the end goal, which many people find in, whether it's video games, movies, or literature, where there is a Christ allegory that, it ends because that's how it ends.
Yeah. I think the book itself as well, it feels destabilized when Kelsier is killed. Just like, it is for them. It feels like everything's falling apart. And it's only because we don't see one more step ahead to what he's been setting up this entire time. How, like, he's laid down this entire ending for us to go through. And yeah, Kelsier's death, it seems like it breaks the book, but really it ultimately is what saves the Empire and the book. It's really great. Not that the book really needs saving. It was doing fine up until then, but it's a great way to finish her off, It
was a real stinker till that Kelsier died. Oh, man.
Every single chapter, I'm like, when is this boy going to get stabbed? I'm just waiting for it. Kelsier, you deserve it. With your stupid smile and your scar arms. I hate you.
Your scarms. I call you scarms behind your back.
I call you Scarmy Boy. I hate it.
Yeah, I think I don't really have much else to say about it, just because it was... I knew it was going to happen the first time I read it, because I figured that's where it was headed. And reading it again, I knew it was going to happen because I read it before. Thank you very much. But it did not... It wasn't a turnoff. It was like, cool, he's got to die. Something else is going to happen, because it has to. And everything was set back on track to get rid of that old guy.
Yeah. So going on number 6. We got Marsh.
Marsh.
The emo anime brother we all love.
Stan's dad from South Park. No, that's the last name. Dang it. That was a joke ruined. It is 1 a.m. I cannot think.
No, so Marsh, kind of, I think the saddest story in Mistborn is Marsh's story. Could just walk through it with me.
Okay.
Here's a guy, the older brother to a much more successful and less responsible brother. That younger brother falls in love and marries the woman that you love.
Oof.
You do everything right.
Yes.
You are part of the resistance and helping other people. Your brother only helps himself and almost gets himself killed until he comes back as a Mistborn to get more power and wealth, and ropes you into a plot just because you really have nothing left. Like the rebellion went nowhere with him. It went nowhere without him. He was just basically living the life of a normal Ska. So then he joins to be part of the Steel Ministry, which he's hated his entire life because they killed his mother, and he saw that. And then your entire body becomes defiled and changed, and we know from the very last chapter, from the epilogue, I think, that he's constantly in pain. So here's a man whose entire life has been emotional pain on, like, the level of, perhaps Vin, just being abused and trying to come out on top, and just being very stoic and rule-abiding. And then his entire body is destroyed from the inside out. He's literally not the same person anymore, because he's tattooed, he's bald, he has giant spikes through his eyes and in his body. Marsh did really, really hard stuff, and without him, we don't have a happy ending to this story, because we don't beat the Inquisitors long enough to get to the Lord Ruler, and man, he gets the worst deal out of everyone, I think.
He does, and I mean, this would make such. If Brandon Sanderson could just do a novella about Marsh and his journey, I would be so happy. That would be the coolest little book. Or if Brandon Sanderson met up with the Crustaceans and they did a concept album just about Marsh. Or
it would be so emo. Marsh would just be like, I'm in pain all the time. My eye holes don't work normal.
I don't know how to blink anymore.
I tried to blink once and then I felt like I was dying. I sleep all day. Yeah, he sleeps extra long because they need extra sleep.
That's right.
Which I think is a very fun part of the Inquisitors. Like, yes, they're very scary. They also sleep, like, forever. So they're just little sleepy boys all the time.
They're Sleepy Boy. They have two settings: Sleepy Boy, Murder Boy, and there's nothing in between.
And I got no more murder to do. Snore.
So
I came here to do two things: sleepy and murdery. And I'm all done with murders.
I'm all
and
done with murders. Yeah, I think Marsh is such a good character. He has such a tragic story. Oh man, Marsh could be. Mm-hmm. He could be an opera.
Oh yeah, he absolutely could. I'm thinking of, so the Inquisitors want to take over the government, right? Do they know how much work goes into taking over the government? Like, they're going to just be like, hey, just don't throw a rebellion for like 16 hours while we get some rest, guys. Like, seriously, this time, don't do it. We'll be very upset when we snore. When we snore.
If you
we'll be gone.
If you wake us up, we are going to be extra murdery. I mean, you won't even believe how murdery we'll get. Uh-huh. Now here's my Hello Kitty blanket. Good night. Do you think that Inquisitors have animals, like pets? Like, do they have like a kitten with a bunch of spikes in it?
I think they have porcupines.
Oh, that's really good. And the porcupines.
So going on the next one.
And the porcupines just hate them, and the Inquisitors hate them too. But just deal with each other.
The porcupines are cold, so they cuddle up anyway just for warmth to sleep.
But on the inside, oh, they both love it. They both love it. Moving on.
They're like pineapples. They're sticky. They got points on the outside, and they're sweet in the middle.
Oh.
That's all an Inquisitor is. That's all Marsh is, for sure.
So what you're saying is that we need to kill and eat an Inquisitor or a porcupine.
Sam, I don't even believe in eating pineapples.
Number 5.
Going on to number 5.
Breeze and Ham. Now, the reason we bring up Breeze and Ham, besides the obvious fact that they've got some great names, is that they have some of the best dialogue in the book. These are two genuinely funny gentlemen.
Yeah, they're like the Ben and Sam of their time. They Sam, which one am I? Which one am I and which one are you?
So you're Kelsier.
I'm Kelsier. I stabbed you. I just did it.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Wait, no, I take that back. You're Breeze and I'm Ham, only because I've been wearing a lot of sleeveless shirts recently. Doesn't look good.
Gotcha.
But I've been wearing a lot of them.
Okay, so I'm Breeze now. You're still stabbed? Because I stabbed you when I was Kelsier just a moment ago. Okay. But now I'm stabbing you with, like, the stem of a wine glass. Oh, I spilled my wine. I'm very upset that you spilled my wine.
I'm Ham, and I rip your sleeves off, and I devour them.
So, no, I like how we're getting deeper into Ham's mythology. So now Ham, he consumes sleeves, and he survives off of them.
He actually gets... a lot of people think that he's the thug. You know, he's got the pewter. Nope. It's pure sleeves. It's sleeve magic.
There's a character in the Stormlight Archive that doesn't get her magic from the normal way. Like, normally you have to absorb Stormlight, and she just eats things, and she gets Stormlight. So I just imagine Ham is the same way, but it has to be a sleeve. Like, for some reason, it has to be thought of as a sleeve at some time in its life, and that has to be its normal, like, set range, and then that gives Ham extra powers.
Ham is such a deep character. You
would need pewter to swallow a sleeve. I'm sorry, Sam, to interrupt you, but that would be a horrible experience.
No, it wouldn't, because he's had so many sleeves, it doesn't even matter anymore.
It's just normal for him. His throat is just basically a sleeve a sleeve conveyor belt, just an escalator right down to his tummy.
Gross. Can you imagine? I mean, like, what if you're really desperate and there aren't any sleeves around, but you have your pants, and technically, pant legs are just long sleeves.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing. What you have to do, because they have to be sleeves at some point. You have to take off your pants, and you have to put your head through the fly and button it underneath your chin, and then put your arms through the legs, and then you have to like use them a little bit, and then you can eat them. But they have to be sleeves for a couple seconds at least.
So you have to convince some power in the universe that what you're about to eat was or is a sleeve.
You have to convince the universe itself that what you're wearing is actually a shirt with sleeves and not just pants that are pulled over your face. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the forest. You're tired. Mm-hmm. You're tired of eating sleeves. You're just so sick of it.
Of course.
You want some meat, so you just grab 2 porcupines, and you. Please forgive this imagery, but you just shove your fist straight through it, and you pull it up all the way to your shoulders, and you just hold them there for a few seconds. Maybe do some like in-place jogging, and those are sleeves now. The universe knows those are sleeves, and you just eat them. He could do that with anything. He could do that with animals, bowling balls, emotions.
Yeah. He could take off his socks and just shove his arm all the way through the sock, and then that's a sleeve. A snake, that's easy. Eels, very easy. Eel sleeves, like,
jellyfish, not so easy. Pigeons, maybe a little harder.
Not so easy. Definitely harder on pigeons. But the thing is, what if you take the pigeons and, like, so you have maybe you have a pet porcupine. You take the pigeons, put them as little sleeves on your porcupine. There you go. That's sleeves. That's sleeves, man.
Oh, man. So why did we choose Breeze and Ham again? Oh.
Because they've got a great bromance. They
do.
Obviously have affection for one another, even though they kind of annoy one another at the same time. And yeah, they're great characters. They're good to have around and great for moments of levity.
Yeah, good banter. And it's not, unnecessary like fart jokes or other dumb stuff like that. It's genuine, witty humor that is enjoyable for all ages. I think Breeze and Ham are great characters that were great additions and characters in the story. Mm-hmm. Moving on.
So going on to number 4.
Number 4, Kelsier's murder sprees. Now I know you're thinking that's kind of gruesome, Ben and Sam, but what podcast are you listening to? This isn't nice things that we talk about. We don't talk about fluffy pillows and cats. Well, we kind of talk about cats. Mm-hmm. We're talking about murder. Kelsier's... I made it a little dark. We're talking about Kelsier's murder sprees. We're not talking about just, murder in general. Why?
We're not talking about cats. We're talking about that murder cat, Kelsier.
That's right.
He's jumping around and just killing all the boys.
So, Ben, why did you want to include this in the list?
I want to include it because some of the greatest things in this book are those moments where Kelsier lets loose and just destroys and wrecks shop. At the very beginning, the prologue where he goes and he's like, oh yeah, they're going to kill that girl? Nope, never mind. You guys, just wait until the morning. And then just smoke, ashes, dead people everywhere. And the girl's totally fine. Because he went out there and he did his thing. Him busting out of the pits of Hassin and killing everyone within, 10 miles? He killed so many people.
That's correct. That's very, very correct.
Mm-hmm. He was very thorough. 10 miles! I'm still flabbergasted at that. Imagine 10 miles from your home in every direction. I mean, and then just kill everyone in there. Just you personally show up and be like, oh, I gotta stab this one too. Then you do your thing. That was Kelsier. That was his awakening. Like, maybe that's kind of what broke him and what made him, like, totally immune to the whole death thing. Because he literally just broke so hard that once that killing someone, death means nothing to him anymore.
Yeah, and especially death for a cause. He obviously didn't go within a 10-mile radius and was like, here's a beautiful family having dinner. Slice, 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 slice. It was definitely all guards, members of the Final Empire, potentially.
Yeah, there definitely wasn't.
Class.
There weren't any residential places within 10 miles of the pits of Hassin. The Lord Ruler would not allow that.
Right.
It was definitely all venture guards.
Here's the beautiful community of Cobblestone Pike, and now, and there it goes. Just washed over in blood and sadness.
Oh wow! I didn't think fire worked that fast. Wow, that's jeez, that's surprising.
You have this lovely Pits of Hassin front property, which now has a pool of blood washing up on its shores. It is just a delightful place to live. Let me tell you. Yeah, his murder sprees, and speaking as someone who, you know what? I'm not going to say it like that. I think it's something that everyone fantasizes about, of getting revenge on something, whether it's in a fantasy situation or, you know, a situation where you could have said something really cool. Well, this is like one of those. Kelsier had a really good comeback, and that comeback was killing everyone. He was like, hey, remember when you guys spit in my food the other day? Oh, you don't? It's because you're dead. On to the next one.
Pretty much. I'm glad he didn't go to the dances and disguise himself, because it'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm dancing with this girl. Oh, what's that about your entire family? Oh yeah, while we were dancing, I snuck off and killed them all. Sorry, my bad.
My bad. Anyway, you have my number. Bye.
I do want to let you know that I am still grieving right now, so not it is something super permanent or super serious, but
if we could just...
You have a very good smile, and I'd like to see you again.
Meet me on a rooftop once every other week. Don't talk to me. Just look at me.
Also, can you pretend you're a tin eye? Just... Never mind.
You know what? This was a mistake. I need that number back. Goodbye.
He just throws down a coin, away, and flies off.
Away. Oh, man. Well, that's what we need, is a whole chapter or two of just Kelsier trying to get back in the dating game.
Yes. Dating Kelsier. Just going on some blind dates. Like, oh yeah, and who's your father? Oh, I'm sorry. Ilariel, you said? Ilariel? Like keep Ilariel? Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Are they home right now? Don't answer that. I'm just gonna... Excuse me.
And his hand's just twitching, and like he's grabbing the silverware really, really fast and putting it down.
I'd like to imagine that he sits down at a restaurant and he orders, you know, we'll take your finest wine. He's like, oh, that's so fancy. Even my father doesn't get that. Oh, really? Who's your father? You know what? Never mind. Don't answer that. I'm having a really good time. I don't want to think about it.
Perfect. Well, yes, and I do think one of the best scenes and one of the best uses of Allomancy is the first scene where we get to see Kelsier go to town at Keep Venture and take down a bunch of haste killers and guards with the ingot and everything, and how he almost gets wrecked himself, but he pulls it through just barely and gets the safe out of there. Really great stuff. I love, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the limitations that are set on Kelsier and on any Allomancer or Mistborn for what they can and can't do is really well used.
If I could, I know we're going to take a little extra time with this episode, just because, you know, there's no boundaries in this episode. We're busting down walls. We're talking about everything.
We're exploring the space. We're jazzing. We're bebop and scatting all over.
Yeah, exactly. And if I could actually change, not necessarily, let's change Kelsier's murder sprees, or, you know, let's not change it. Let's keep that, and then we're going to add maybe a colon. I don't know how colons work, but an insert just...
Colin Powell. They work in the army, Sam.
Thank you. That was very good. Kelsier's murder sprees and the fight sequences. Because even if somebody doesn't die, excuse me, there's still just well explained and easy to imagine great fight scenes that just get you so pumped up because you're like, yes, do that thing with the Allomancy, use that coin, use that soldier's body as a pivot point and just ruin their day. I said this every time there's a fight scene, but it's so well written that I don't have to struggle to imagine what's happening as I'm reading it. Brandon Sanderson was just like, I know how to write this, I can see it, and I know how to use words well. Good. I know how to use words good. Oh, no, I think I messed that one up. And then he just writes some great fight scenes. Yeah,
he writes very visually, which is perfect for those fight scenes. He writes to help you see what's going on. And the thing is, he doesn't describe every little thing. He describes what the character's perceiving and what they're doing. And before the scene starts, he makes sure that you have a sense of place. And then lets you fill in the rest. He kind of paints with a broad brush that way, and then fills in details as he wants to. But I think that leaves it it's very evocative for you to imagine. It keeps your mind racing.
Moving on
but
to...
yeah, I think that's great.
Does anyone else have any... If you guys have comments, feel free to jump in. I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah, jump in anytime if you have a microphone and are playing along at home. We'll definitely edit that in.
Number 3. This is one get all teary-eyed over. Vin and Ellen, their love story. I said this so many times. I'm a man who repeats things because I'm not good with words, but I love their love story for numerous reasons. It's not overbearing. It's not some gaudy affair. It is so simple and so cute that it is absolutely genuine. It is not just a love story for a love story's sake. It is a genuine and a real love story that evokes true emotion and evokes... Brandon Sanderson's not pandering, and he's not being like, ooh, look how I can write these really good love stories. He's just like, here's the story. Yes, there's a love story. It's not the main event, but it's still an actual love story. I appreciate that it was not the absolute focus of the entire thing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but I also appreciate how it is at the same time important. The
Yes.
story isn't the same story if Vin and Ellen don't meet and fall for one another, because Ellen doesn't get the ability to stay behind and to stand up for his values and his morals that he's been, developing, if he doesn't ever know someone like Vin or Valette in his case. And in that way, he doesn't stop the bloodshed of the rebellion and start to set up a new empire. In the same way, Vin, she would have just killed the entire aristocracy if it were not for Ellen changing her, and then by proxy changing Kelsier and his plan. I'm sure she would have had no qualms about going out around and just stabbing all of those guys and just ridding the world of the noble class altogether.
Absolutely.
So the story isn't the same without them, and also Vin herself is not the same person, and she doesn't have the same journey if she never learns how to love. So this entire story is about Vin taking her life and receiving it from the gutter, literally, and then actually making something good out of it instead of just living the same horrible days that she has for years and years and years.
Yeah, and I do, if I can correct what I said, I do know that everything that happens it happened because of, obviously Kelsier's death and all that, but everything that happens to Vin is because of how Kelsier saved her and taught her, and how I guess we're jumping into number 1. I don't want to spoil number 1, but I do totally understand, and I love that this story wouldn't be the same had they not fallen in love, had Vin not learned how to love and to trust someone that she truly barely knew because she was hiding behind something, a facade. But it is a genuine love story that drove both of these characters to greater things.
And I think it resulted in one of the most special and one of my favorite parts in the entire book, in the epilogue, where Vin, broken leg and, completely beat up from fighting the Lord Ruler, jumps down to see Ellen and says, "You spend entirely too much time reading in the presence of young ladies." And he doesn't say a word, he just gets up and holds her. And finally she feels like she has someone that won't betray or turn away from her, and that she's worthy of being loved. The voices from Reen go away, and for that moment she feels normal, which speaking for people or speaking of people that I know that have had severe emotional problems, that's all they want. They just want to feel normal, even if it's just for moments. And that relationship has that potential to do that for her. And of course she develops as a person, and this is kind of her launching point to become a stable person as well. But this is an important step for her to learn how to love and be loved in return.
Absolutely. Moving on to number 2. We're on 2 more, guys. If you made it this far,
number 2,
you get the Golden Star, or should I say, the Pewter Star, or the Steel Star, or the Iron Star. Number 2 is Allomancy.
Allomancy. Yes, Allomancy is the best magic system ever. It's up there.
It's potentially the Ben, name one magic system that literally you think is cooler and better than Allomancy. I'll wait.
Eel magic.
Well, you did it.
I did it. Yep.
Okay, ranking it. We're doing another top 10 within this top 10. Eel magic, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is number 2 Allomancy, Ben?
Building magic.
Okay.
Hotel magic.
I really did like Hotel Magic. Hotel Magic was really cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, number 3.
Yeah. Shark magic.
Number 4. Is number 4 Allomancy? I'm just trying to find out where Allomancy is.
Number 4 is web magic. Allomancy.
No, I have to say number 4 is web magic, because that's when Tim Gunn got introduced.
Yeah, Tim Gunn got introduced canonically as Spider-Man. But Allomancy is it's such a great, it has so many thematic ties, especially in the iconography and in the world itself. But also it highlights that these people they have special powers, but they're basically just conduits for these powers. They're still mortal, just like Kelsier died. And like Vin told the Kelsier many times, just saying, "We're not invincible, are we?" Like, no, you're not at all. Like, an errant arrow that you don't notice could take you out just as easily as anything else. I mean, maybe you'd be going a little bit longer because of pewter, but you'd be dead in one way or another. And so I think that we're definitely dealing with exceptional people in exceptional circumstances, but the basis of Allomancy is really, really interesting and solid. Just what it can do, which is cool, what it can't do, which is horrifying when you see the things that they're going up against. Just seemingly insurmountable odds.
I think Allomancy is a magic system that is so obviously it's so well thought out. Sorry, I'm trying to collect my thoughts. Did I mention that it's 1 a.m? Allomancy is one of the first magic systems I've personally ever encountered in fantasy novels, because I've not read that many. Of course, there's things, like Star Wars with the Force, and there's different magics in The Lord of the Rings, and then if I go so far as to say the magics found in Dungeons & Dragons, which are diverse and numerous. Allomancy is such a smart and such a smart magic system, and I really like how you said that it is the body is a conduit for it. Mm-hmm. It's not like a superhero where Superman he is the reason he's invincible, or excuse me, the sun is the reason he's invincible, or its atmosphere. Oh yeah, that whatever.
That's really cool. I love that the sun gives him powers because he's a plant boy.
But people being conduits for these metals is such a cool concept, and such a well thought out concept, and everything that comes with it, all the limitations and all the abilities as well, that makes Allomancy, for lack of a better word, a very real magic in my mind. I know it's not real. Don't tweet at me, Michael, or Chelsea. But it makes it a very realistic magic system for, not just a random situation like, oh, well, why do these wizards have power? Because I wrote it that way. But, these people have powers because of these metals and because of something in them that causes them to be able to use these metals in that way.
Mm-hmm. And they have to be clever about it. Like, they can't solve every single problem. You can only push metal towards or away from you. And it's away from your center mass. You can soothe emotions. Like, you can't change minds. You can't change or control them in any way other than just how they feel. Like, you are limited by what you can do. When you burn tin, you get everything, every sensation. You can't just burn, I just want to burn hearing tin. No, there's no such thing. You burn tin, you feel everything as intensely. It all gets doubled or tripled. It's really interesting, and I love the way, that there's kind of like it's kind of like a pseudo-scientific or mystical symmetry to it. In the 10 metals, and then there's the 11th metal, which seems to be something strange, and maybe there's some stuff we don't know, and we're going to learn more in the future, but there seems to be a very, core and desirable and known aspect to it.
Ben, I may have asked you this question before in one of the first episodes, but if you could have an allomantic power, not a Mistborn, what would you choose?
Oh... I would go with Copper Cloud, because I wouldn't want anyone to manipulate my emotions.
Okay, I can dig it.
I just want to pick the most useless one. I hope you all know that. I would definitely be a steel pusher. I mean, who wouldn't? Maybe a lurcher. Like, you could just, pull yourself like Spider-Man. That'd be pretty cool.
Does Spider-Man pull himself? Yeah, he does. Well, he kind of swings.
He does pull himself. He swings and pulls. He does the thing where he shoots, and then he pulls between his legs. I've seen him do the splits. I know this.
What's that, Ben? What would I choose? Pewter. Thank you for asking.
Why is that?
I just don't want to wear sleeves anymore,
You just want to eat sleeves?
No, pewter arm, it's the whole...
That's why they call it pewter arm, because your arms have to be showing.
I have to go back and read the book. Every time there's somebody who's using pewter, do their sleeves disappear? I don't remember if it said that.
What? You're in a crowd, and there's all these guys walking by, and then you just notice a guy with no sleeves. You're like, no, shoot, run! It's a pewter arm. Don't got any sleeves.
But then they try to confuse you, and there's a whole group of them. None of them have sleeves. But one of them just has less
There's just one
sleeves.
Skinny guy, and he's just finishing eating one sleeve. And that's the guy you gotta worry about. It's like a noodle. He's just slurping it into his mouth.
And it's denim. Ugh. Yeah.
Moving on. We're gonna go to number one. The best thing, or the best reason why Mistborn rules is Vin and her very emotional, very satisfying and cathartic journey. I think that Vin is the MVP of this book because she shows us the in all the elements of the Final Empire, the depression, the hope, the development. She's really the surrogate for the Ska. We talked about how the Ska are being depressed and oppressed, how they're constantly being put down and their emotions are being dampened. Then, when she finds out that she's Mistborn, she gets metals from Kelsier, she learns to start to burn copper, which would have, protected her from emotional allomancy, which is why it's the best metal, and which is why I definitely chose it for great reasons before. And so she's kind of like ground zero for, what's going to be happening eventually to the Ska population. Eventually, those soothing stations are shut down, and all the soothers are killed. And the Ska start to feel emotions and start to rise out of their stupor, as it is. And that happens to Vin. She doesn't really say throughout the book that she is always burning copper. But I think that she is, to always protect herself from, emotional allomancy. I mean, there are times, I think, that when she's in when she's, in the balls and everything, I don't think she's doing it to avoid, anyone, a seeker catching her for any reason or anything like that. It's just her journey is the journey of the book. It's the journey of the entire Final Empire. And her ability to overcome her abuse and to recognize the abuse of her youth at the hands of her brother, of her family, the people that loved her, and be able to separate that, compartmentalize that, and say, yes, he did that, but I'm willing to trust people again. I'm willing to have friends. I'm willing to have, someone I love.
With so many female protagonists and stories with a female central character, such as Quentin Tarantino movies, it's often a story of revenge, and it's often a story purely of that. There's not much, I don't want to say there's not much substance to it, but this is such a deeply hurt character that has gone through years of abuse, emotional, physical, and to watch her climb out of that with the help of others, as well as making changes by herself, is so inspiring. And yes, it is a fictional character, but these are real things that can happen in terms of abuse, in terms of overcoming it. This is a story of overcoming, on the grander scale of things, an entire empire and a terrible dictator who ruins lives, and on a smaller scale, without actually being small, in terms of not important, we have someone who is finally able to climb out of the hole in which she was placed, and in which she kept herself for so long, to blossom into this beautiful character and this beautiful person. And I don't mean that in a sense of, look, she's pretty now because she cut her hair or whatever, any of that garbage, but a beautiful person in terms of someone who has these scars and who has this pain that has been with her, but who can look forward to a brighter dawn and can look forward to helping others, knowing that if they're drowning, she knows how to swim. She finally can keep herself up to help others. And it is such a beautiful arc. Such a beautiful arc.
Absolutely. And Brandon does something that's not easy. He takes a young girl, she's 15 or 16 when the book starts, and he takes her and he believably develops her out of her adolescence and childhood into her womanhood, into her being an independent, she will take the initiative, she will fight these Allomancers because she loves Elend, because it's her decision that she wants to do the right thing and try to protect him. That's not easy stuff to do. It's not easy to show that, anyone has grown over the course of a book or even a series. Sometimes writers can fall into the same tropes of writing a character still as a child, or always writing the character as if they're like a grown-up adult person with, independent thoughts. I feel like he really threads the needle there, where she is at the beginning constantly thinking about leaving, about how everyone's going to betray her and take away everything that she has and loves, until she grows to the point where there's no concern about that. She doesn't take food from the dinner table anymore because she's afraid of starving or never getting a meal again. She trusts everyone enough to sleep in the same common area as them, and to not just bug out at night. Like, these are all really, 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 really subtle but incredibly important things to make Vin a real living, breathing character in the book. And I think he nails it.
Absolutely.
She overcomes her complex life of abuse in a way that, she is constantly making hard decisions and going against what her history would tell her. So she's kind of like immersing and growing, and it is, you're right, it's beautiful the way that she overcomes and lives up to be better than she should be. Yeah, by any means.
And whenever you read a book, there's different things you take out of it. Granted, I've only read this book 2 or 3 times, but this really stuck out to me. And I even say to us, because of how often we bring it up, this arc and this beautiful this story really, really stuck out to me, and really left a lasting impression on of this character and their development, and like you said, it was so hard. It's so hard to do this in, let's say, an entire season of a show, let alone do it in a single book. But it wasn't far-fetched. It wasn't all of a sudden she woke up and it was, she's like, oh, I'm fine now and I'm very social and everything's good. It was little things and big things culminating together. It's a constant steps, constant concentrated efforts, and she really did turn into just a strong, great character. And we got 2 more books of her. So we get to see how much more she changes and who she becomes in the end.
I hope she wears more pretty dresses.
Oh, I think she will. Oh, yay. Ben, balls don't exist anymore. Don't you remember? There was one more and that was it.
I know. Last dance. Last chance for love.
Well, that's our...
'Cause it's my last dance. Go ahead.
That's our top 10 list. It was... This has been really fun, guys. This whole
it's
thing.
A great book. I'm astounded that we made it through the entire book. It feels like nothing after all. Like when we were in it, I'm like, no, this is gonna be forever. We're gonna be doing this for like ever and ever and ever. And we got through it in, I feel like, record time. And we got to talk about it and dissect it. It was really fun.
Yeah. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope you guys enjoyed all the goofs, and you guys enjoyed this list. As always, well, you know what? We're not going to end with any games or anything, just because we spent a little more time really getting into our favorite stuffs. But Ben, I don't think we've talked about this, so maybe I shouldn't bring it up. But we're going to keep moving on with different Brandon Sanderson books. And, we'll let you guys know when the time comes what we're moving into next. Next week, you can expect a little clip down and a special treat, if you will.
We got something we've been preparing for a little while. A special treat for you music lovers out there.
Or you lovers out there. Music lovers,
you lovers that want to make love to music. Yeah. That's what we meant.
I don't know if this song is going to be appropriate for that kind of setting.
I don't know. Everyone loves different. If Mistborn taught me anything, it's that, Sam. I mean, think of the Inquisitors and their porcupines. They love a lot differently than I do.
That's true. There's a lot of hate in that love. Guys, we love you. Speaking of love, we love you for listening. We love you for liking our Facebook page. We love you for following us on Twitter at @BSanderfans. We love you for following me on Twitter at Samuel_Loose. Ben, where do we love them for following you on Twitter?
I love them for following me at Ben Parrish, BENNPARRISH on Twitter.
It's a good name. We love Ben for having that name.
Yep, it's a good name. Yeah, the other day I was doing orientation for work, and they spelled my first name right, which almost never happens, and they misspelled my last name, which almost never happens. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a record-breaking day. Anyway, Sam, we gotta let you go because you gotta get some sleep. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening to Brandon Sanderfans with Ben and Sam, and as always, read a book.
Read a book.